So, hello friends. So, today we will start chapter 16 Natural Resources. Okay, so basically, what are natural resources? So, let's break the term. Okay, let me just bring my pen. Yeah, so what break the term into natural and resource. Natural is anything which we obtain from nature, and resource is what is sort of useful for us. So anything that is provided by nature which we can use is a resource. Okay, so practically then everything is a resource, because the air we breathe, we use the air from the nature. Similarly, as examples are given: soil, stone, minerals, air, water, plants and animals. They are all natural resources. Okay, now let's start with the crust. Okay, the Earth's lithosphere you learned in earlier classes. Try to recall it one. And it's not, if it's given here, it's made of land and hard crust beneath it. Okay, and as they say, the lithosphere is not homogeneous. Homogeneous means evenly spread out, but is made up of many different types of rocks. Okay, for example, the northern alluvial soil is different from, say, the iron rich soil of Jharkhand. Okay, and that's just a very small area. So as you go around the earth, it shows major differences in its types. Okay, so basically resources what they include: minerals, ores, mineral oil and other fuels, rocks, water, elements, etc. Okay, so first we start with minerals. Okay, first of all, let's take a look at the yellow box. Here. Metals are obtained from their ore by extraction and purification. Impurities of sand and soil in the ore are called gangue. Okay, basically what happens is, for example, you want to derive iron. Okay, so in nature you won't find that you dig up and you find natural iron. No, that never happens. The ore of iron is basically iron with some other particles which are not iron. For example, the rocks, the soil, some other of the components, they are non-iron. These are the impurities, because even if they have some use, they are of no use to us. So they are impurities, and iron plus impurities, it forms the ore. And the impurities of sand and soil are called gangue. It's a technical name given. Okay, so as they say, I'm reading here, mineral wealth has an important place among natural resources. Naturally, because any country requires steel, iron, etc. Minerals are formed by various processes taking place in the environment. Okay, that's actually variable how a particular mineral is formed. So as I say, the rocks on the earth are mainly made of minerals, even the normal rocks you see. Now, as I was discussing about ore, hairline, only a few metals like gold, silver, copper, platinum, and bismuth occur in free state. That is, you can find Ag is the technical name of gold. So you can find free gold in the mines directly. Of course, that needs some purification as well. But yeah, it is found naturally. But the thing is, a majority of metals occur in form of compounds. Okay, for example, aluminium, when after processing it was found in Al2O3, which is basically aluminium oxide. Okay, so what are this? Minerals. Now this is the definition of ores. Minerals that contain a high proportion of a metal are called ores. Okay, it is economical to obtain mineral from ore. Like for example, every rock may have some iron, but it is, say, very small, like 1% or 2%. It is not feasible to obtain iron from such. So the ore should have a high concentration of iron to make it economical. Okay. Now back to point. How are minerals formed? So you remember about the volcano explosion, right? So this is a volcano, it explodes, and then these travel downways, the lava. So what happens is, as the lava is solidified, it starts to form rocks. This is one of the way mentioned here. Okay, and the example of such rocks are magnetite and mica. Okay, and second thing is minerals are formed when solid crystals remain behind after the process of evaporation. Okay, what is it? Suppose the crystal is there and water has been evaporated. So it's some forms of mineral. Examples given here are halite and gypsum. Now the third type is that as the temperature and pressure changes, the compound they give different shape. Now here's a very good example. Both carbon and graphite are carbon compounds. Okay, both are made of pure carbon, nothing else. But since diamond is exposed to various pressure, it becomes hardened. Basically, diamond and graphite are both compounds which are formed due to large changes in temperature and pressure. And last one, the ones produced by living organisms. For example, conches and shells for protection. Okay. Now, what are gems and gem-like material? Gems include examples like diamond, ruby, sapphire, emerald, jade, zircon. Basically anything which is precious. There is no as such scientific definition of a gem. Okay, so we look at this table. Classification of mineral according to their properties. So it is basically one is metal, the third is non-metal, and the last one is energy metal. Basically energy metal is if you can burn that particular compound. No, it's not compound. If you can burn a particular mineral to obtain a large chunk of energy, it is energy mineral. Example mentioned are coal, mineral oil, natural gas. You heat the coal, it generates some heat, you heat the water from it and generate electricity. So what is metal? The one which have metallic properties. The examples are iron, gold, silver, tin, bauxite, manganese, platinum, tungsten. And the one minerals which fall in none of the definition are placed in non-metal. Mica, sulfur, gypsum, potash, graphite, diamond, feldspar. Okay. Now what is rock salt? Deposits of common salt are also found in the earth. Generally the salt is found in the sea. Most of the salt we eat is basically the salt which is left after all the water evaporated. Okay. Now here we discuss some important minerals and ore. This one is iron ore. Okay. So iron, which is an impure state, is iron ore, and so iron is used to make articles, a lot of articles, and where article is not used, it's I don't remember the term. Steel is made from some modified iron. Okay, steel is used in some places. The four main ores of iron are magnetite, hematite, limonite, and siderite. Okay, basically nothing much technical, just a thing to remember. Now what is manganese? Manganese occur in the form of its carbonate, basically CO3, silicate, something SiO2, and oxide. Manganese oxide is MnO2. Okay. The compounds of manganese are used in preparation of medicines and for giving a pink tinge to glass. This is an really important application. Manganese is used in electrical applications. The one here you see is an IC. Now as you learn in much details, it has an electric circuit inside it. Basically this structure is made of manganese. Okay. Now what is bauxite? Now, as I said, aluminium is mainly in the form of aluminium oxide. So that ore is bauxite. So what they say, it contains 55% aluminium and it mainly consists of aluminium oxide. You remove the oxide, you get good quality aluminium. So what is the good thing about aluminium? It is a very good conductor of electricity and heat. Okay, its density is low. This is what separates aluminium from iron. Even iron is a very good conductor of electricity and heat. But the problem is iron is heavy. Okay, you cannot make light things with iron. It will be really heavier. Really heavy. My bad, sorry. So where you cannot use iron and where there is a demand that it should conduct electricity, it should be strong, but it should be light, you use aluminium. So examples are aeroplanes, transport vehicles and electric wires. Though copper is one which is okay, copper is used mainly for small scale. But if you have making large power lines, you must have seen towers, right? The towers that carry electricity lines. They use aluminium. But the ones in our home, at the small scale, they use copper. Okay, coincidentally, the next one is copper. Copper is found in impure state in vicinity of iron and other minerals. So good for us, we don't need to make separate searches for copper. Copper is a very good conductor of electricity. After silver, copper is the next best conductor. Okay, the only metal that conducts better than copper is silver. Okay, hence it is used to make electric wires as well as in radios, telephones, vehicles, and for making kitchen utensils and statues. Okay, basically what happens is if you have a steel container, if you're not a container, maybe if you have a steel kadhai, okay, the chances are that it will be copper plated at bottom for proper heat conduction. Okay, so what is mica? Mica is a bad conductor of electricity. So actually even insulators have some uses. Okay, so its value depends upon the thickness of its layers. It is used in dyes, electrical machines and equipment, wireless communication equipment, etc. Okay, so now we move to fuel. Now basically what is a fuel? Okay, so as a defined fuel, various substances are used in day-to-day life for generating energy. These substances are called fuels. They are found in both solid, liquid or gas. So the one is coal. Okay, so coal is really one of the most conventional fuels. It was the first to be discovered to make electricity in medieval England. Okay, so what happened is, imagine the dinosaur. Okay, this is the soil and a dinosaur died. Dinosaur died of, as you know, 65 million years ago. So what happened is soil deposited. So what happened is it had a really high pressure and high heat from both above and the one below. So what happened is this, and they were not only dinosaurs, there were some dead plants, animals and a lot of other matter. So this pressure converted them into fuel. Okay, so basically what we use as fuel was probably some organism that died millions of years ago. Okay, that is why coal is said to be a fossil fuel. Fossils are the bones of those, not bones maybe, the remnants of the organisms that lived thousands of years ago. And since coal is found in that place, hence coal is a fossil fuel. Okay. So now where is coal found? It is found in mines. Okay. Coal mines are fairly common in Jharkhand. And if I remember right, Coal India Limited has its one mine near Nagpur. Okay. So the example of coals are peat, lignite, bituminous coal, anthracite. Okay, so peat is really a bad quality of coal, and it's not commercially viable because it generates a lot of smoke and virtually no heat. Anthracite is the best variety of coal. Minimum smoke, best quality heat. Okay, as they say, is a coal of highest grade. Okay, so as they say, coal in a way is storehouse of carbon because every organism has some carbon in it. It is burned to obtain heat energy. Basically, what happens is C plus oxygen under high temperature gives CO2 plus energy. Okay. Coal is used as fuel. It is used as fuel in thermal power plants. Thermal power plants are basically those which use coal to generate electricity as well as to run boilers and railway engines. Nowadays, the railway engine that use coal have more or less disappeared. Much of the as I say, much of the railways has been electrified. So they rarely use coal. Coal is also used as fuel for cooking and for baking bricks in kilns on large scale. Nowadays, the government is trying that coal is not used as fuel because you see, coal is rare and we don't want to waste coal in household applications. So, the government is trying that alternatives like LNG and CNG, what we will study later, they reach maximum number of people so that more coal is freed for other purposes. Okay. The gaseous fuels, producer gas and water gas are obtained from coal. There are proper reactions which you will learn later. And as I said, coal as an energy resource contributes greatly to industrial development. In fact, the industrial revolution that took place in Europe, which modified the industry, was completely coal based. And still, bulk of the industries are coal based. So you see in the diagram, as I said, there are organisms floating millions of years ago. Then thousands of years ago, these organisms were deposited. And now, when they're deposited in the form of oil or natural gas, we take them out. Okay. So ONGC is one of the PSUs. You can read about that. So now, let's come into the main thing. Okay. Mineral oil and natural gas. So let's discuss with the more conventional mineral oil. It is what? A liquid fuel formed by the decomposition of organic substances buried underground. So as you see the above figure, the organisms were roaming around and they died. The sand deposited over them, and as deposit happens under high pressure and temperature under the seabed, they compressed and formed the mineral oil we know today. Okay, so as it is written, millions of years ago, bodies of dead sea organisms sank to the bottom of the sea. Layers of soil and sand collected on them. Now, as high pressure and temperature began, it transformed into oil. So how are they extracted? Through oil well. Okay, so basically it's a complete extraction process. It's a much more detail about, it's a separate branch in itself basically on how to design an oil well. Okay, so mineral oil is found mainly in oil sands, shale, sandstone and limestone at depth of 1000 to 3000 meters. Now, as I say, mineral oil practically of itself has very few purposes. Okay, so what we do is, but once if you purify it, you can make a lot of products from it. So as they say, mineral oil is also known as petroleum or crude oil. It is greenish brown in color. The one thing is, has many components of hydrocarbon types. When mixed together, they are of practically no use. So we try to separate them. How? Fractional distillation. It's one of the process which you will learn in this course. No, you learn distillation itself, not fractional distillation. I'm sorry. Okay, so basically what happens is everything has different melting compound. So you place one on some temperature, it melts, you take it away. Basically, it's a complex process. And for industries, this happen in really large scale. Okay. Now what we obtain once this phenomenon is done, we obtain aviation fuel, petrol. Sorry, aviation fuel is a more commonly used term, basically used by flight jet, gasoline, what we call petrol, diesel, still used by some trucks, kerosene. In older lamps, kerosene was used to light, but now electricity has come, so it's no practical need. Naphtha, from which naphthalene balls are made. Naphthalene balls are used to protect the woolen wear from the insects. Lubricating oil for large scale machine, often what happens is some parts they may get jammed. For example, or as may say the brakes of old scooter. So the oil you put in it is called lubricating oil. Tar is used for road construction. Are all obtained from petroleum. They are used as fuel for production of dyes, pesticides, perfumes, and artificial fibers. Nylon, for example, is an artificial fiber. So, what is natural gas? Natural gas is like, as I say, it comes free with petroleum. Petroleum in underground oil, as well as in some places as natural gas alone. Remember, in India, bulk of the petroleum is imported from Middle Eastern countries like Saudi Arabia. Natural gas is far more imported, much more from Qatar. If you can search on the Google, it's QATAR. Some people call it Qatar, some call it Qatar. Okay, I don't know what the correct pronunciation is. So what happened is the main component of natural gas as it is written is methane, while other compounds are present in small quantities, but the main component is methane. And methane, one of the property of methane is it catches fire really easily, so it's a good thing for a fuel. Okay, now natural gas is formed from the remains of organisms buried deep underground and subjected to high pressure, similarly like petroleum. Okay, the fuel can be carried over long distances by means of a gas pipeline. In India, the pipelines are operated by GAIL, GAIL. Okay, but in the absence of them, it is transformed into CNG, compressed natural gas, and LNG, liquefied natural gas. So, what is the characteristics of CNG? One, it catches fire easily, which is a good thing for a fuel, but not a very good thing if you have to transport it. Okay. Second thing, no solid waste remains after combustion. Really good thing, you don't need to worry about its disposal. 3. Carbon dioxide and water are formed in small quantities. Good for us, less carbon dioxide means less pollution. Fourth, other pollutants are not produced. Even better. Fifth, it can be transported easily. Okay. And sixth, combustion can be controlled easily. Okay, I think I mixed up point in the above box. Yeah. So basically what happens if there are no pipelines, what you do is you compress it into if you apply little pressure, it's still high pressure, you apply a less high pressure, it becomes CNG, and apply even more pressure, it is converted to LNG, liquefied natural gas. Sorry, I missed that point. So now what is this LPG, liquefied petroleum gas? It is obtained during refining of crude petroleum. Okay, I should take the pen. Refining of crude petroleum. Petroleum gas is transformed into a liquid. How? By subjecting it to high pressure and reducing its volume to 1 by 240th of the original. For example, if there was 500 liter of petroleum gas, then what you do is you apply high pressure and then convert it to 2 liter of LPG. How it is stored? It is stored in thick walled steel cylinder so that it remains under pressure. Mind it, the gas is liquid only because it is under high pressure. You remove the pressure and the gas converts itself and the liquid converts itself back to gas. Now, as it comes out of the storage cylinder, it is transformed back into gas, as I told. This gas contains two main compounds, propane and butane, in the ratio of 30:70. Okay, basically these are two chemical compounds. They are like next progression of methane. It's an odorless gas, but how will you tell if there has been some issues? So what you do, you add a chemical called ethyl mercaptan, which has a strong characteristic odor. Okay, maybe not in case of LPG, but in your home, if you leave the gas on, there is a characteristic smell, and as they say कि gas leak कर गई है. Okay, basically it's not a leak per se, but that smell tells you that you have either left the gas turned on or the cylinder has some issues in it. Okay. Now, as they say, the demand of fossil fuel has increased greatly due to rapidly growing population. But the reserves of fossil fuel are limited, right? Because I cannot go back to time and kill more organisms so that we get more coal or we get more petroleum. Okay, so now it is becoming difficult, and the chances are that there might be no more petroleum in the near future. Okay, though there is quite some time in that, and as a prediction says, there at least we have enough petrol till 2050. But what after it? This is called as energy crisis. Basically, the reserves are completely exhausted. So now what you do is you have to develop alternate fuel. Now we have alternate which are we are still in developmental stages, like hydrogen, biofuels, methanol or wood alcohol, ethanol or green alcohol. Okay, they are still upcoming, they don't yet have the viability at commercial stage. Okay, now comes forest resources. So now what do forests do? One, to reduce the velocity of water flowing over the land. Okay, for example, if this is land and there is forest, basically a lot of trees on it. So what happens is, as the water flows, it encounters the resistance as it slows down. So okay, this is what, to reduce the velocity of water flowing over land. Two, to help prevent soil erosion. Since the roots of the tree hold to the soil tightly, soil erosion does not happen. 3, to help percolation of water into the ground. Okay, so what happens is, suppose it rains on a plain surface. Okay, so if there is no surface, the rain comes directly. But when there are a lot of trees, the leaf catch some rain. So gradually, the rain comes gradually to the ground. In this manner, the capacity of ground is not saturated, but it continues to fill. Okay. Fourth, to control floods, because they hold. This is basically the effect of all these three functions. Okay. Basically, when floods come, there is a lot of water, but forests reduce the velocity and they help more water to go into the ground. Fifth, to reduce the rate of evaporation. Okay, that may sound a bit of contradictory considering that leaves do transpire a lot, but yes, the surrounding water bodies, they have a really good balance due to forests. Sixth, to protect wildlife because naturally lot of species are dependent on trees. And seventh, to maintain the balance of atmospheric gases. Okay. Now what is this? An extensive area of land covered by a variety of plants is called a forest. Okay. A forest is a natural habitat of plants, animals and microbes. Now, okay, basically you can read it. Now here are some of the plants we obtain from the forest. Okay. So let's start with medicinal plant. Adulsa is a plant which is used for cough and cold. I guess it may be the tulsi plant, what we call that in Delhi. Bale is used for diarrhea. Neem is used for fever and cold. Periwinkle is used for cancer. Cinnamon, which we call dalchini in Hindi, is used for diarrhea and nausea. And this is a really good cure, the last one. Cinchona leaf is used for malaria. Similarly, prepare a list. The next thing is wood. Now, if you look around you, the chances are that one or the other thing in your house will be made of wood. Okay. So, what is wood? We get strong and durable wood such from trees like teak, mahogany, neem, acacia, and shubhabul. Okay. So basically, it's used for making furniture, farming implements, and various other articles. Now, also the includes are fiber. Screw that. Fiber, paper, rubber, gum, and aromatic substances. Okay. That basically includes lemongrass, vanilla, kivra, khos, and eucalyptus. Mind it, eucalyptus are not native to India. Okay. So sandalwood basically as what we call chandan, and all of eucalyptus are used for making soaps, cosmetics, incense sticks. Okay. Now, how to conserve forest? One, young trees should not be cut because they have a lot more function to do. Two, many more trees than are cut down should be planted and looked after. For that matter, there are laws of the state government which regulate that. And three, okay, as I said that, the stringent restriction or laws or regulations regarding use of forest should be strictly followed, and some are already being followed. Okay, and the last one probably is ocean resources. So as they say, ocean occupy a greater part of land surface than earth than land does. Naturally, earth is 70% water. Okay. So it is mentioned energy can be obtained on a large scale from oceans. Basically, there is some ocean energy resource. You will learn about that in geography about how the tides can be used to generate power. Okay. So now as we come to sea resource, there are reserves of variety of natural sources in sea water, at the bottom of the sea and beneath the seabed too. The resources available from seas and oceans are called marine resources. The best example of this will be fishes, one of the ocean resources. Okay, actually it is included in the next. Mineral and bioresources from oceans. So that billions of tons of minerals are dissolved in ocean water. Okay, some of them the examples are given: tin, chromium, phosphates, copper, zinc, iron, lead, manganese, sulfur, uranium. A lot basically. And we get many type of gem, conches and shells. Okay, and pearls. Basically these are just some names. Okay. So in India we have Bombay High, which is used for petroleum generation. So now, what are the mineral resources? The one is thorium. The main element used in atomic energy generation is uranium. The second one is thorium. The next is magnesium, which is used in the flash bulb of camera. 3. Potassium, which is the main ingredient in soap, glass and fertilizer. The fourth is sodium, which is used in production of cloth and paper. And last one is sulfate, which is used in production of artificial silk. Now we come to bioresource, which is fishes like pomfret, CFEs, shrimps, prawn, dried shrimp, Bombay duck powder, shells, fungi, shark and codfish, and sea cucumber. So the table shows some of the marine occupation: fishing, basically taking fish; salt farming, making salt from seawater; transport business, transport by sea. This is actually much of the world trade takes place by sea. Okay. Fourth, sea tourism, means of financial income. Like near India Gate, you see a lot of example of sea tourism. Fifth, manufacturing decorative articles. Now one thing is that the reserves are limited. If we use them excessively, then they may be depleted earlier than expected. So hence, we should keep a tab on how much natural resources we are using. Okay, so I hope everything was fine. Thank you.